And it reads these words. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they went to the tomb, taking the spices that they had prepared. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they went in, they did not find the body. While they were perplexed about this, suddenly two men in dazzling clothes stood beside them. The women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground. But the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, but has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still in Galilee that the Son of Man must be handed over to the hands of sinners and be crucified, and on the third day rise again." Then they remembered his words, and returning from the tomb, they told all this to the 11 and to all the rest. Now it was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary, the mother of James, and the other women with them who told this to the disciples. But these words seemed to them an idle tale, and they did not believe them. But Peter got up and ran to the tomb. Stooping and looking in, he saw the linen cloths by themselves. Then he went home, amazed at what had happened. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. And I hope to begin again. If I tell you who I am, you have to promise not to tell anyone. Do you promise? Do you promise? Do you? Okay. My name is Simon. I mean Peter. I am one of his disciples. At least I thought I was. The other day I was, and then very quickly things got out of hand. Sorry, my head is pounding. I've been tossing and turning all night. It's almost like I've been bound, shackled in quicksand. Have you ever felt like you're half dreaming and you're half awake and can't quite figure out what is real and what isn't real? I feel kind of like that. I've been picturing Jesus in my head a lot, rehearsing what I would say to him in my dreams. My heart feels heavy. My breath feels shallow. My wrists are glistening with sweat. I haven't been able to sleep in almost 3 days. I haven't eaten. I haven't bathed. I've been hiding for I don't even know how long. I would run, but I'm not sure I can. I haven't been able to see or talk to anyone since it all happened. I feel absolutely terrible. I mean, absolutely horrible, like I've been run over, maybe. Why, Lord, how could I have been so reckless, so selfish? How could I have just thrown everything away? Have you ever had this sinking feeling that you owe someone an apology? I just want a chance to talk to him one more time. One more time, that's all it would take, I think. I just wasn't thinking. Or maybe I was. I was just so afraid. I would give anything to explain. I want to talk to him, but I also don't want to see his face at all. I think one look in his eyes would completely crush me. Is this a conversation I'm even capable of having? I can't believe I was such a fool. It was Friday night, I think, or maybe it was Tuesday. I can't remember. Things are a little fuzzy for me right now. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Something completely awful has just happened. The other night, I was with Jesus and some others. I thought it was a meal just like any other meal we had. And then he started saying all kinds of things I did not understand. And if I could tell you the truth, I never really understood him. Though I only knew him for a few years, I felt like I knew him for my whole life. I had never met someone so beautiful, so perfect, so kind and gentle and commanding. In his eyes were light and love and hope. His touch was healing and calm. Everywhere he went, people watched him with awe. He fed the hungry and embraced the abandoned. He trampled over powers and principalities, and he went to battle with demons, and they had attacked bodies and minds, and he rescued people from the crushing weight of empire. I listened to him challenge political leaders, and I watched him wrestle his religious tradition until it pulled out a blessing. I was with him in his welcome with all kinds of people, migrants and tax collectors and women of the night and timid women and awkward sinners and smelly men and quirky blue-collar workers and those without 2 shekels to rub together. Anyone and everyone, each of us found a home in him. He was a talented craftsman, a gifted orator, a prophet, our teacher, the power of God poured out in a human life. I would have done anything for him. I mean, almost anything. That night, he was arrested. Everything happened so fast. I didn't know what to do. I acted impulsively, and I hurt people. I mean, really hurt people. And I swore I would never leave his side, but I did. He told me I would, and I did not believe him until that cock crowed, and I could feel the world crashing around me. I told them I wasn't a part of his movement. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself. I don't know if he'd ever forgive me. I remember the anguish of that horrible night. I think it was Friday, but maybe it was Tuesday. I can still smell the stench. I can still feel the weight of my denial crushing my spirit. 3 times I denied knowing him, the one who had called me to follow him. Shame enveloped me like a suffocating cloak, and I wept bitter tears of regret. I feel so unworthy of forgiveness, so unworthy of love. I can't imagine he'd ever want to look at me again, let alone welcome me again. Why would he ever want me? All I needed to do was stick by his side, just like he did for me so many times over, and now he's gone forever. I've been hiding ever since, but there's also no hiding what I've done. That cock crowed 3 times, and everyone looked directly at me. Everyone knew it had happened exactly like he said it would. Not only that, but all that I've done, it's all over my face. My tear-stained face, my grief, my shame and regret expose everything I've done. Perhaps I'll spend the rest of my life wishing I could take it back. And yet, as I'm wrestling with myself, I'm trying to remember the things he said. Geez, there's so many things he said. If I can tell you a secret, none of us understood what he said. What was that thing about the harvest and wheat? No. Sabbath? No. Destruction of the temple? Nah. Maybe the thing about forgiveness. But surely that's not about me. He talked a lot about things that were going to happen. We see how that turned out for me. I've started walking now. I've got to stay on the move so that people don't start to recognize me. Perhaps I'll pick up a new identity and pretend none of this ever happened. Now, what did he say? What did he say? Things are so blurry now. Every now and then there would be something in there about his body, how it would be crucified, dead, and then on the third day he would be raised again. Wait. Could it be? No. Could it? Whoever heard of a man being raised from the dead? But then again, whoever heard of a crucified Savior? Could it be true? I mean, if it's true, it would change absolutely everything. The last becoming first, the power he'd have over death, the casting down of the empire, the unshackling of the imprisoned, the triumph over oppression, grace poured out in excess. Could it include me? What if all that he said was true? The abundant life he spoke about, a life where the grieving are blessed, the rich and powerful are sent away, and the lowly are lifted up. Could it be? I so desperately want it to be true, but I'm not sure I can take another heartbreak, another disappointment. I'm picking up my pace now. I'm walking, and my face is in my hands, and I'm shaking my head, and I can't even think straight. And then suddenly, smack. I walk right into a group of women crashing through the woods. We bump into each other, and we all go tumbling to the ground. There's Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary, the mother of James, and a few others that I can't quite make out. Their eyes are huge and glistening, and they're talking so fast I can barely take it all in. But they're smiling, and they're jumping with joy, and they're saying that Jesus' tomb is empty. They're speaking of angels declaring that Jesus is alive with all power in his hands. They're saying that some of the men don't believe them and think it's all foolishness. We've heard that before. But as for me, something lights up in my spirit. Could it be true, just as he said? Would he ever take me back? My heart is pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. I begin to think that maybe there is hope for me yet. And then without even thinking, I begin to run. I run and I run. I run like the wind. I run like forests. I run like my very being is dependent on it. I run like I have nothing else to lose. Hope is bursting out of me. I hope and I hope that this is not how the story ends. I hope that the tomb is empty. I hope that he has risen just as he said he would. I hope that there is something that is truer than death. I hope that there is a power stronger than despair. I hope that hell is getting nervous and tyrants are becoming afraid. I hope that there is life after life. I hope that there is a power out there stronger than injustice, stronger than poverty and warfare. I hope that there is a reality stronger than racism and colonialism and patriarchy and homophobia and transphobia and more powerful than all kinds of violence. I hope that there is green after winter. I hope that it is darkest before dawn. I hope that this too shall pass. I hope that grace is big enough to hold me, and I hope that my failure is not the end of me. I hope that there is life big enough to swallow up my agony. I hope that the worst thing is never the last thing. I hope that a new world order is barreling in. I hope that chains have started falling. I hope that love is real. I hope that I can always start over. I hope that I can outlast my embarrassment and failure. I hope that I will live and not die. I hope that I will be around to see the future. I hope that I still have a place in this family. I hope that I will see him again, face to face. I hope that I can participate in the repair of the world. I hope that I can live with my Lord forever. I hope that I have another chance. I hope that I can. I hope that I will. I hope, I hope, I hope. So I run and I run, taking my chances and putting the past behind me. With all that is in me, I push past my fear and failure. I dash over my crushed dreams and missteps, and I take hold of all that is ahead, and I reach out towards what the end is going to be. This is who I really am, the one who keeps running. I run after who I am truly meant to be. I press forward towards the promise that is lying around that corner. He is risen, they said. He is risen. And so I hope that I can begin again. Thanks be to God. Now is your opportunity to share what's bubbling up on you and how this Easter message is moving in you.
I would like to know what is in that can that you are drinking, because the energy that just came from you is huge. And I think my whole life I have to keep on focusing on hope. Very good. Very, very good.
Just seltzer, I promise.
I, like Susan, probably can't talk without crying, but that's because it was so powerful. Thank you for connecting us to Peter and all the things that we doubt in ourselves. It was beautiful.
Hi. I just wanted to say to you that I think that was extremely beautiful and rather well done, and I think it is a perfect example of ways that performance art can complement other things, and such as, in this case, beliefs, and is so powerful in terms of connecting people and really reaching people emotionally. And I think that you did spectacular in all the small details and the refinement of the energy, and your diction and just everything about it was very thorough in achieving your goal and was rather beautiful.
Yes, I agree. Thank you very much for this presentation. I think that the only evidence that we have of the resurrection is the emptiness of the tomb. And that leads us all into the spirit of hope, hoping that what happened to Jesus will go on happening to others who face the end of life. And so it seems to me that ending with the notion of hope is the beginning of our faith in the resurrected Christ. And thank you for the drama that you present to us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
So, having thought about Peter through the whole Holy Week, but the whole season here, particularly on Thursday, and thinking about how he was so aggressive, and I think he was aggressive because at that time, I think he had hope that, like, in that night, we're going to take care of everything. Jesus is going to help me with this battle, and I'm going to defend him. And when Jesus kind of rebuked him and said, "What are you doing? This has to happen," I think he lost his hope. And so in that denial, the next day, it was because what he thought he could do wasn't going to work. And pretty much that was the end. And so coming back to what Peter said and what you spoke of, it was beautiful to think about how beautiful and sad, how empty, and how he didn't get to ask for forgiveness, and how he wasn't going to see him anymore. And I mean, there was no other chance. And we do that. We have that in some losses where we didn't get to say that last thing. But then the hope, as Peter said, of the empty tomb, of I have another chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful, particularly thinking of, this Holy Week and just all of the ways that we've journeyed with Peter. I mean, we've seen him at his best, we've seen him at his worst, and knowing that for him, maybe there was no, billboard or spotlight saying that this thing had happened. They had to hope. They had to hold on to something before they could see him. They had to imagine that he would welcome them in, and that it would be true. And that running in itself, we can run with a lot of emotions. We can run with fear, but we can run with excitement, but it's hope. It's forward movement.
Something that also stuck out to me about the running was the only thing that he knew was, okay, the tomb is empty. He didn't know where Jesus was. He didn't know where he was supposed to go. And so to me, there's also a level of inherent faith in running without even knowing his destination.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's a really good point. Any other thoughts, comments?
Hi, we have Alex saying, "Thank you for that sermon. I've heard many Easter sermons, but never heard one like this. It was almost like a spoken word poetic. Very positive, moving, and hopeful. I am truly moved. I could say more, but it would turn into an essay. Thank you for this."
I love it. Love it. Thank you, Alec.
And then Judy said, "Wow, Brooke, best resurrection message ever. I'm sure we can all relate to Peter. I know I can. We can never lose hope in spite of the injustices we see each day."
Beautiful. Beautiful. And seeing ourselves as a part of that story. How do we participate? Absolutely. Any other thoughts? Yes. Tiff?
So I think we all have been like Peter, and it kind of reminds me of him being in the storm also, how he lost his faith or his hope in Jesus, and he started to kind of sink. So when you lose your hope and your faith, it's kind of like you're drowning, and he was drowning in different emotions all at the same time. You know, he was angry, he was sad, he was afraid, he was cold. I mean, you know, not even like just emotions, but like human feelings. And we have to realize that he was actually just human. So he was feeling everything that we would be feeling right now as just being human without having the Holy Spirit or without having, you know, that figure of hope in front of us or in front of him. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah. Thank you. I know that one of the things that we've been doing throughout this series is using art, and so this is quite a different image than what we're used to for Easter, but it is in our devotional for this series. It is supposed to be an image of Peter sort of looking hopeful, confused, dazed. If you look closely, there's a slight smile. I think a lot of times when we think of Easter, we think of, you know, just boyish colors, but that slight smile and slight curiosity, I think, opens us up to what hope can be like. Sometimes the subtle details of what that can be. But thank you so much for this conversation, and I hope that it continues to bless you as we move through this season of a resurrection. Easter is not just one day, it goes on and on and on until Pentecost. And so we'll have many opportunities to reflect on what this powerful day really means for us and how we can participate in it. So we'll move now to our next song.